Alright, gang. Today, we're going to go back just about 50 years ago to July, August of 74, Muscular Development magazine, and we're going to talk about this article from Hugh and related stuff. But Hugh's article here was called Junkyard Gems, and as you can see, Hugh was not always a 300-pound guy. He was more like around 2 in that particular one. Has a picture of this kid here, Danny, with some of his flywheel weights that come from cars, obviously. But he's just talking about collecting stuff that you can use in your home gym or your outside gym. There he is doing that behind the neck press. And you can see he's in pretty good shape here, and he's probably under 200 pounds in this picture. Doing decent behind the neck press there. There he is at the weight we're more familiar with him at 296, I believe, and he's pulling 791 here. So, yeah, he went through quite a few weight classes over the years. Here he's just talking about how it's the intro to the article and how he's enamored with collecting hunks of metal of all various kinds. And, you know, a lot of times they'll be twisted up, they'll be full of grease. So, you know, you got to come prepared. And I'm kind of a collector of, you know, I see things and I say, oh, you know, I could do something with that. I could make something with that. And I have a whole series of videos from back in the day, from years ago, mostly of DIY stuff that I've done. So I can understand like where these guys are coming from. And Hugh was certainly not the only guy that did this. Paul Anderson and Bob Peoples were big on it. Here's Alexander Zass spending a big bar, something that you could probably pick up at a junkyard or whatever, really cheap. And there's Chuck Sipes spending a bar, and that was a big thing for strongmanism back in the day. A lot of the old school bodybuilders from back in the 50s through even 70s and 80s did strongman stuff like that. So, yeah, you can, and there's a lot of, I think, strongmen of old, going back to Warren Lincoln Travis and even Louis Cyr and Stout Jackson, which we covered in the last video, which was unusual feats of strength. It is kind of connected to this. So, you know, here's Paul Anderson with big giant tractor wheels, and I'm not sure how much that was. And you could see he's doing short range motions with this. But he, you know, he describes back in the day, him and Bob collecting all kinds of stuff from junkyards or whatever. You know, Paul came from a pretty modest family background and didn't have the money to go outfit, you know, an awesome home gym. So they did what they had to do. Of course, most of us don't have to do that these days, but I still think it's a pretty cool idea, and they've made some pretty cool things. He's talking about different types of wheels that you can collect at junkyards, and some of them can, you know, get up to some pretty serious weight. He talks about some weight that he found in the woods that was like 500 pounds. The biggest problem with this stuff, like, you better have at least a pickup truck, and probably yourself and some other strong guys. Here's Hugh teeth lift, and he was talking about in that last panel where he used just a big, heavy cylindrical weight as a base for doing teeth lifts when he couldn't find a human volunteer, I guess. So, as he says, I revel in metal or anything heavy, strong, or solid looking. And here's Warren Lincoln Travis with his, it almost looks like a top of a missile, but, and then a big old school dumbbell. He talks about chains. Chains are another really cool thing. And I have videos of my friend Dave and I doing, you know, push-ups and elevated feet push-ups with chains on. Here's Slim breaking chains is one of his strongman things. And that's a thing that a lot of strongmen have done over the years too, is breaking chains. And you can go to the hardware store and get chains, but if you want these really crazy like anchor chains that you know, like one link weighs 30 pounds, you probably have to go to a military surplus or something like, or a junkyard to find that. Here is from the movie Conan, Conan's wheel. I actually did have a DIY version of a Conan's wheel, which is basically made of stuff that you might find at a scrapyard and stuff like that too. Here he talks about like collecting just big giant pieces of wood, boards and stuff like that. Here, military surplus in Kansas he talks about going to. Found these big giant spheres that he made into dumbbells, one of which was 540 pounds. Here is, of course, Bob Peoples at the bottom deadlifting, and there's his famous dungeon gym that he actually dug out himself. Looks like the magic circle version that he made on the back wall. Here he is again with this famous homemade leg lift, which you can see he made the frame out of, looks like 4x4s, a really thick bar, and a couple of barrels, probably just full of water. Here's some gentlemen that have made weights with looks like just hunks of lead pipe, and it looks like crude cement weights that they made. Another guy who was famous for collecting stuff and just having a really cool gym is Bob Zuver, another Bob. And here's the front of that. And I actually covered Zuver's gym pretty well in my Great Men, Great Gyms of the Golden Age. There's Bob with the world's biggest dumbbell, which is 2,000 pounds. I don't think they forged that. I think they probably found those spheres someplace. And here's Warren Lincoln Travis with that dumbbell that's 1,650 pounds that he would do hip lifts with. And that was another big old school thing, is hip lifts like that, where they would just do crazy amounts of weight. Here is a father-son dip station, as they called it here. And it looks like just a couple of step ladders welded together, and you have pipes going across. Here's the out front with Bob and his wife, and you see that they have a couple crazy eaters, like a gorilla and an elephant. So they probably got stuff from old circus shows and stuff like that too. Here's a homemade dip station that Bob made. It looks like just out of regular plumbing pipe. And here's yet another set of giant wheels that they used for squats. Bob, like I said, he liked to go to salvage yards. Here's something that he made. It's the big key to the big door. Everything was big at Zuver's. So you got that piece of chain. It looks like just some pipe and stuff that he kind of welded together to make that key. Very creative guy. And he was actually, I believe, an architect. I think he designed and built pretty much everything in his gym. Here he is collecting what they called the blob, which is just this big round thing. Looks like almost one of those half balls that you use, but except this was like solid, and 500 pounds. Here's Ken Leisner lifting it off the floor with one hand. So a lot of cool things that can be used for strongmanism and stuff. Here's my friend Joe DeMarco, who passed unfortunately a few years ago, but here he is with a bunch of just pieces of foam that he probably trash picked to do his pad presses off of. Strap it to yourself, and then he would bring down massive weight and kind of bounce it off your stomach and chest. An extreme cheat mode. Here is the adjustable squat bench that Joe made. He actually did work in a machine shop. He made these really cool little squat handles that I can't squat because of my shoulder range of motion is shot. But there it is. I'm going to stop there. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks. I'm out.